and it's titled A Drug a Day. In this election year, almost everyone is complaining about the price of drugs. The elderly are upset because the cost of drugs is a large part of their budget. 13 million seniors in this country have no prescription drug coverage. Then we have to ask, why do our drugs cost so much? It is claimed by many that the United States enjoys the best health care in the world. Yet 1996 figures show that each year, 733,834 people die of heart disease. 544,278 die of cancer. And 160,431 die of strokes. These three leading causes of death are due in large part to dietary and lifestyle abuses. How then do drugs address this issue? So, if we have the best medical care in the world, why so many deaths? Drug prices are the fastest growing part of our country's medical bill. Between 1995 and 1999, drug costs more than doubled from $65 billion to $125 billion. One government study predicts drug prices will reach $243 billion by 2008. Today, drug manufacturers are pushing out drugs like they were candy. The industry brings out improved versions of drugs and charges more. Companies can get multiple patents and patent extensions that limit competition. Politicians want to redirect U.S. wealth to help elderly Americans pay for their drugs. But none of this helps the 50 million Americans who have no drug coverage. And these strategies don't address the fact that maybe drug companies are gouging us. Alan Homer, president of the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, when asked if drugs cost too much, said, "Compared to what? If you have a life-threatening disease, your best hope is the American pharmaceutical industry." This may be true in crisis medicine, but it is not true in chronic care. The average number of new drugs approved by the FDA each year doubled between 1980 and 1998, from 19 to 38. 339 AIDS medications became available between 1987 and 1999. In 1996, only 32,655 people died of AIDS. In 1996, the drug industry spent $9.2 billion on promotion. In 1997, it was $11 billion. And in 1998, $12.5 billion. In 1999, it was $13.9 billion. Back in 1980, the industry spent 11.9% of its sales on research and development. And in 1999, the estimated cost was 20.8%. The cost of research and development in 1980 was $1.5 billion. While in 1998, the cost was $22.5 billion. As of 1998, 23% of our drug dollar goes to the pharmacy, 3 cents to the wholesaler, and 74% goes to the manufacturer. This buys a lot of research and development. Manufacturers claim it costs $500 million and takes from 12 to 14 years to develop a new drug. and only 1 in 10 drugs developed ever gets through the complicated and expensive clinical trial process and makes it to the market. The drugs that make it to the market must recover their costs and the costs of those that didn't make it. But how does any of this explain the cost shifting that occurs where Americans pay more for drugs so they can be sold cheaper in foreign countries? Drug manufacturers give discounts in foreign countries because of government price controls. In Mexico, Prilosec costs 68% less than it does in the United States. In Canada, Zoloft costs $125 for the average prescription, while in the United States the cost is $223. The pharmaceutical industry earns most of its profit in America, where drug prices aren't controlled. The drug industry whines that it needs its enormous profits to recoup its research and development costs. But the industry has never had to bear these costs alone. Many federal agencies, including the National Institutes of Health, have developed loads of drugs using their own funds, and then our government grants patent extensions to drug manufacturers because a drug's many-year trip to market wastes many years of patent protection. Yet, drug manufacturers are charging more for existing drugs. These increases are many times the increase in the cost of living. Drug industry profits are greater than any other economic sector. The industry has greater returns on revenues, return on assets, and return on shareholders' equity. But industry spokesmen claim that there's a high-risk nature to the pharmaceutical industry. These industry spokesmen say that if they develop a new medicines that have value, they should be profitable. If they don't, then they shouldn't be profitable. In 1999, the drug industry spent $83.6 million lobbying Congress and the White House. The drug industry favors laws which would provide drug coverage for seniors through the private sector, and they are against any form of price controls. The industry threatens that cheaper drugs could mean fewer drugs. But in all of this, where are the voices that cry out that we may not need all these drugs? More than 3 million American children are now taking Ritalin because they are hyperactive and suffer from attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. In 1980, attention deficit disorder was first listed in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. But today, some question whether such a disorder exists. In a class action suit filed in Superior Court in Hackensack, New Jersey, it's alleged that Novartis, the maker of Ritalin, the American Psychiatric Association, and children and adults with attention deficit disorder conspired to overdiagnose the disorder to boost sales of the drug. It's contended that the drug company got the APA to define attention deficit hyperactivity disorder as a psychiatric disorder, which created a market for the drug. It's also alleged that the drug company gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to children and adults with attention deficit disorder, which praised the benefits of Ritalin to parents. Lawsuits like the above are also being brought in Texas and California. The market for drugs to treat ADHD is about $670 million yearly. Novartis has denied all the allegations, claiming they never conspired with anyone. They also contend that ADHD is a medically valid disorder. The lawyers of the families whose boys were treated with Ritalin said, "It's hard to stand against a culture that so easily accepts these diagnoses and drug treatment for this disease. We certainly hope there will be much stricter examination of when and how this is diagnosed. Younger and younger children are getting the medication. We would like to have the whole system re-evaluated." It's alleged that the Ritalin conspiracy began 30 years ago, when Saiba Geigy tried to boost the sale of the drug, which led to attention deficit disorder becoming a mental disorder. When given to hyperactive children, Ritalin supposedly calms them down and helps them focus. Today, Ritalin is being given to 2- and 4-year-olds. Yet, the physician's desk reference says the drug isn't recommended for those under 6 years old. Many doctors also fail to inform parents of Ritalin's side effects, and some schools push parents to put their children on the drug. One major study found that Ritalin helped reduce the symptoms of ADHD in children between ages 7 and 10. The drug proved more effective than behavioral therapy. One Ohio family's lawsuit claims their daughter died of side effects of Ritalin. Other parents say their children need sleeping pills and other drugs to counteract Ritalin's side effects. Some children's symptoms worsen with Ritalin. Dr. Daniel Adler says ADHD is a real disorder and that it's a biological disease. It's not a psychiatric problem. It's not a problem with parenting. It's not a problem with education. Without medicine, they can't get better. It's like telling a diabetic they have to get better without giving them insulin. But psychologist Boyd Ross says he doesn't believe in ADHD. "I don't think the disorder exists. Too often parents only hear, 'We have a medication that will make your kids sit down and shut up.'" Psychiatrist Peter Bregan is the medical expert behind the class action suit, and he is against any drugging of children. Bregan believes that fidgeting and interrupting adults is normal behavior, not symptoms of ADHD. This diagnosis was created for the specific purpose of suppressing children. Every single item in the list of symptoms has to do with controlling large groups of children in classroom settings. Could it be a defect in the brain that makes you do everything a teacher can't stand? We've got a disease that goes away if you act in an interesting, warm, caring, engaged way with these kids. Dr. Bregan reminds us that real diseases can't be turned off. Children with this disease can focus when away from the classroom. Many are unmedicated at home or when on vacation. Some contend that the problem isn't the children, but the manner and the setting in which they are taught. Dr. Bregan contends that Saiba Geigy gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to Chad and was then able to use the group's reputation to promote the use of Ritalin to families and schools. There are no studies regarding the long-term effects of Ritalin and its side effects: depression, weight loss, stunted growth, loss of appetite, nausea, agitation, irregular heartbeat, and insomnia. These have always been downplayed. Also, children who use Ritalin are more likely to abuse other drugs as adults. It's alleged that Ritalin use also affects the heart adversely. Some may also experience nervous tics. Ritalin supporters claim that the drug is safe and effective if used for less than 1 year. We are a culture that thinks nothing of popping drugs, but popping vitamins and looking out for our health are too much trouble. We're lazy, ignorant, and often stupid. Yet, we're the best educated people in the world.
Hi, this is William Morrow. Are you one of those people who join a health club, and after they have your big, overpriced annual membership, you notice that you're on your own with little or no results even after all the promises? Then the website Personal Trainer is for you.
Thank you very much, William H. Morrow III.
So you lost another argument with a conservative, right-wing Republican. He talked over you. He screamed and yelled. He brought out the Bible. He thumped it. He quoted scripture to you. You were lost because you came at him with facts. Nothing but facts. And you expected that would make you look good. That would make you win the argument, but it didn't. You know why you lost the argument? You know why you're going to lose your next argument? Because you don't read Censored. Censored, the 30-year-old newsletter that shows you how to defeat a conservative. Read Censored, and you'll have all the ammunition you need. Every time you get into an argument with a right-wing conservative, so-called Christian. Censored, that's all you need. Read it, and defeat a conservative.
Greetings, listeners. Let me speak to you for a moment about the foundation of our entire organization, Newsletters Censored. It was founded by our mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, in 1977. It discusses the 5 taboos of American life: politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. You won't find anything like this in the mainstream media and the press. It reveals the kind of truth that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? We are living in the end times, so in order to defeat a conservative and save America, you need Newsletters Censored. Go to www.newslettercensored.com, click on the printable order form page, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription. This is James P. Madonna of Megalife 21, the hardest hitting internet talk radio station on the planet.